Hello, how you guys doing? Okay, lecture number 10. This is our final lecture before you all take your test, both you all and the folks at home. Okay, so this is kind of wrapping up chapters 1 and 2. Okay, you've learned a lot in 10 lectures, hopefully. All right, and we're going to finally take a test after today's class period and see how you've all done. All right, now for the face-to-facers, we just took a quiz. Okay, why don't you go ahead and switch that over to the Elmo. And I want to make sure, I always have a test question like this one. For you folks at home, I would just push pause and get out a piece of paper and act like this is a quiz. I can't collect it from you or give you points for it, but why don't you just push pause, take a look at this, and answer those questions. And turn it on to play when you are done, because we're going to go over it now. All right? Now, I have a question like this on the test, and it's interesting. When I can go look at this question and how people did on this one, or these 10 questions or whatever, this little section. And if they did really good on this section, most of the time they did pretty good on the test. But even more than that, if they bombed this section, they bombed the test. Okay? Because I really think this gets down to the meat and potatoes of chapters 1 and 2. Do you know really what the debit and credit balance means? Do you know how to affect these accounts? Okay? Because if you can't do these, you probably can't do the journal entries. All right? So I really want you to know that I feel that this is important. Okay? How do you increase lawn mowing revenue? You credit it. How do you decrease office supplies? Well, office supplies is a debit balance account. Thus, it increases with a debit and it decreases with a credit, correct? How do you decrease prepaid rent? Credit it. How do you decrease unearned revenue? You debit it. That's a credit balance account. It's a liability. Thus, to decrease it, you debit it. How do you increase withdrawals? You debit it. How do you decrease capital for John Smith? Debit it. How do you increase wages payable? Credit it. How do you increase equipment? Debit it. How do you decrease rent expense? Credit it. How do you increase inventory? Debit it. Okay. Look through those. Do those all look right? I just did them real quick in my head too. Let me look over them real quick. I would hate to have this tape to not be right. I think it looks right. What? Is it right? Yeah. Why do I doubt myself? Why do I doubt myself, Jake? Okay. All right, did anybody get perfect? I didn't bring Hershey Kisses today, so I forgot them. If you stop by my office, I'll give you one. Okay? All right. Okay, we're going to do some things today. Like we said, we're kind of wrapping up. One of the, let's take a look at, I assigned problem 2-4A, correct? Now, I am happy to answer questions over that if you have questions. However, for you folks here face-to-face, I handed out the photocopied answer, didn't I? Okay? And for you folks at home, I have the answer to problem 2-4A in the Chapter 2 handouts section on Angel. Just go to Lessons, then go to Handouts, then select Chapter 2, and you'll see it in there. Okay? Takes a while to go over. It's nothing we haven't done before. I mainly did it for extra practice. But if you have a question about it, go ahead. Kara, you had a question?
Is it okay that, like, on March 1st that we separated it instead of put it together, like capital?
On March 1st, are you talking about the journal entry?
Yes.
Let me take a look. Oh, I need the other page. That's all right. I got it right here. Let me take a look. March 1st. Which journal entry was it?
The cash and equipment and capital.
Okay. Oh, did you credit capital for 22,000 and then credit capital for
Yes.
150,000? Did you do it in one journal entry or two?
Two.
That's fine.
Okay.
Same net effect. That's okay.
Okay.
Okay. So all she did is she had one journal entry on March 1st where she debited cash for 150, credited capital for 150, and then she had another journal entry on March 1st where she debited capital for, she debited office equipment for 22,000 and credited capital for 22,000. Yeah, that's fine. Sarah.
When I was doing my general journal, I wrote revenue instead of service fees earned.
Instead of service revenue?
Yes.
Service revenue is the one they use. Yeah, revenue is fine.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of synonymous terms for revenue. You could have said revenue or service revenue or revenue earned. Okay, those are all okay.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions on that? You can kind of grade your answer from part 3 and see if you got the right trial balance, right? Okay. Let's take a look real quick at the trial balance. Big question is do your total debits equal your total credits, and do your totals equal the numbers that are on the screen? Okay? If they don't, you know you made a mistake, right? And even if they equal, if they're different numbers than those, you made a mistake. All right? But you guys have that answer. You guys can work through that and take a look and see if you have any questions. Does that sound good? Okay, good. No more questions on problem 2-4A? All right, if not, let's go ahead and go to exercise 2.6, okay? Now, exercise 2.6, I think sometimes is a little bit more difficult, all right? But let's see if we can do it, all right? Let me get some paper out. Okay. Exercise 2.6 on page 79. All right, use the information in each of the following separate cases to calculate the unknown amount. Okay, during October, Chandra Company had $97,500 of cash receipts and $101,250 of cash disbursements. The October 31 cash balance was $16,800. Determine how much cash the company had at the close of business on September the 30th. All right? Okay. I like these because they really get to the heart of what is going on here in a T account. Okay? Now, did anybody get the answer? What did you get as your answer?
On A?
On exercise 2.6A.
I got 20,550.
You are correct. 20,550 is the answer. Now, you might have done it differently, but here is how I want to kind of think about this. Okay, we are dealing with cash here, right? So let's do a cash T account. We know that this is the debit side. We know that this is the credit side. This is a T account for cash. Is cash a debit balance account or a credit balance account?
Debit.
Debit. Okay, thus the beginning balance will show right here, correct? And the ending balance, providing it's a normal ending balance, will show right here. Is that correct? What sort of transaction causes cash to be debited? Or what sort of transaction causes cash to be increased?
Performing a service.
Well, specifically, in this example, we have cash receipts and cash disbursements going on. Which one of those causes cash to debit or to increase? Receipts. Cash receipts. So do you see that cash receipts would go here, and cash disbursements, which is another word for payments, would go here? Does that make sense? You get your beginning balance. You debit cash when you have cash receipts. You credit it or decrease it when you have cash disbursements or payments, and that gives you your ending balance. Now let's fill in the amounts that they gave us, okay? And what are we dealing? What month are we dealing with? October, aren't we? Okay, because they talk about what's the September balance, what's the October. So we're dealing with October. Okay, they had $97,500 of cash receipts. And they had $101,250 of cash disbursements. Is that correct? The October 31 cash balance was $16,800. Is that the ending or the beginning? Ending. And they're asking us what the beginning balance is at September 30th, right? So there is one number and only one number that goes in that circle that causes that to work out, correct? Specifically, this number plus this number minus this number has to equal that number, correct? And what is that number? 2550, right? You just solve that algebraically. Okay? Does that make sense? Now, does 2550 plus 97,500 minus 101,250 equal 16,800? Yeah, it does. You can check that easily on your calculator, can't you? Everybody know how to solve that?
Yep.
Okay, good. Now, maybe you did it differently, but I like to do it with the T account. Okay? Let's do the next one. Okay? First of all, we are, okay, exercise 2.6b. On September 30, Mornish Company had a $97,500 balance in accounts receivable. During October, the company collected $88,950 from its credit customers. The October 31 balance in accounts receivable was $100,500. Determine the amount of sales on account that occurred in October. Okay, so what account are we dealing with here?
Accounts receivable.
We're dealing with accounts receivable. Now, is account receivable a debit or credit balance account?
Debit.
It's another debit one. So the beginning balance would show here, and the ending balance would show here. Is that correct? Now, think back to your journal entries. What causes accounts receivable to be debited? What sort of journal entry do you debit accounts receivable?
Performing a service on credit.
Okay, performing a service on credit, okay? Or they say it, sales on account is another way to say that, right? Sales on account, on credit on account is the same thing, they'll pay us later. Okay, so the amount of sales on account goes here. Now, what causes accounts receivable to be credited? What types of transaction causes accounts receivable to be credited or decreased?
When people pay.
When people pay, right? When people pay on their accounts, that causes accounts receivable to be credited or decreased, right? So we can call that collections on accounts receivable. That would go here, correct? So let's put in the amounts that we have. They tell us that at September 30, there was a $97,500 balance in there. They collected $88,950 during October. And the October 30 balance was $100,500, right? So they want to know what the sales on account are, correct? So there's one number and only one number that'll go in that circle that will cause that to all be complete. Is that correct? What is that number?
91,950.
91,950. Do y'all know how to solve for that, by the way? Okay. It's just algebra. That's just your unknown. Again, that plus the unknown minus that has to equal that. And there's only one number that can go in there. It is 91,950. And then I always check it. Does that plus that minus that equal that? It does, doesn't it? Okay? Sometimes these are kind of hard for people, but I think if you think through it with the T account, it's a really good way to test to see if you really understand what's going on. Now there's one more. There's C, isn't there? Okay, what I want to do now is you might have C done, but I want to take about 90 seconds or so, play that JCCC music, and if you've done it, cover it up, see if you can do it again. But I know there's sometimes people don't understand this one. Now that I've kind of shown how to do it, let's see if you can do exercise 2.6C. I'll give you about 90 seconds, 2 minutes or so, okay? Okay, we are back on. Okay, let's take a look at exercise 2.6C. Nassar Company had 147,000 of accounts payable on September 30th and 136,500 on October 31st. Total purchases on account during October were 270,000. Determine how much cash was paid on accounts payable during October. Okay, good. So what's the account we're dealing with here? Accounts payable. Now, is accounts payable a normal debit or normal credit balance account? Credit. So, the beginning balance would show up here, and the ending balance would show up here, correct? What causes accounts payable to be credited or increased? Think to your journal entries. When do you credit accounts payable?
When you buy something on credit?
Purchases on credit, correct? That's when you cause it to be credited. When there are purchases on credit, or we could say on account. When is accounts payable debited or decreased?
Pay off your bill.
Right. We could say payments on accounts payable, right, as we pay that off. So let's see what they give us. We had 147,000 at September 30th. and 136,500 at the end of the month. Purchases on account during October were 270,000. And they want to know how much cash was paid on accounts payable. So they want to know the number that goes in that blank or that circle, right? So this plus this minus this has to equal that. There's one number and only one number that goes in that circle that causes it to be valid. And what is that number?
280,500.
280,500? $280,500. Okay? So, does that plus that minus that equal that? Yes, it does. Awesome. Any questions on exercise 2.6? I usually have a multiple choice question or two like that on the test. So I want you to be able to do those. Okay? Now, Matt was saying that on Connect, the walkthrough was helpful on that. Is that what you said, Matt? Okay, good video. Not the part that's worth points, but the little dumbbell on its side, right? It says practice walkthrough.
Yeah, both of them. Even the one on the points is good too.
Okay, good.
You can click on hints.
Okay, good. Good. All right. Well, so be using those. For you folks at home, you should be registered by now. You should have been registered for Connect a long time ago. But if you're not now, you're way behind, okay? Because, and I have notified you, but you should know now when your Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 Connect assignments are due, as should you all, okay? All right, so make sure you're doing those. Those are worth points. If you don't do those, it's going to really affect your grade badly, okay? So make sure you're doing those. All right, was there a hand-up question? No? Kara?
I was going to ask, when is our Connect due? You said it was going to be open at 2.
Yeah, let me answer that after we stop the cameras
Okay.
rolling, because it's going to be different for you as opposed to the face-to-face, and I don't want to foul them up.
Okay.
Okay, so as soon as we stop rolling the cameras, why don't you ask me that?
Okay.
Okay? All right. Okay, I think we've gone through all the homework, haven't we? Haven't we? Okay, good. All right, I want to take some time and I want to work in class on exercise 2.13, 2.14, 2.15 on page 80. And this will be a good refresher because we're going to prepare the 3 financial statements again. So exercise 2.13, exercise 2.14, and exercise 2.15 on page 80. We're going to take at least 12 minutes to do that. And so you folks at home, as always, when we work on these things, work on them at home. We'll go over the answers when we come back. But let's work on exercise 2.13, 2.14, and 2.15. If you folks at home aren't done, just pause it, start us when you are. But I want to make sure we get through these. The answers to the income statement and the statement of equity are up on the screen. Okay? Now I want to make sure I say some things here. Number one, make sure you prepare these in good form. The name of the company, the name of the statement, and for the month ended August 31st. Same thing down here, the name of the company, the name of the statement for the month ended August 31st. Make sure you do that properly on the test or I'll lovingly take a point off, okay? Now, there is no, I think sometimes people get confused with the trial balance. Like, let me just show you an example trial balance. It's not for this company. In a trial balance, the accounts that are debit balances are listed in the leftmost column, and the ones that are credit balances are listed in the right column, and they're labeled as such, right? Do not think that on their way that these people did their income statement, that there's any rhyme or reason between the columns they used. There's none, okay? Are you with me? Yes, it does so happen they put their expenses in the left column and their revenue in the right column, but that does not correspond with debit and credit. You don't see debit and credit above here. Like Marlon, I think you were showing me, yours was all just one column, wasn't it? And that's fine. That's what you were asking, wasn't it? Okay? So don't think that there's any rhyme and reason between that. Okay, the net income flows down to the statement of equity, which is why you have to prepare the income statement before the statement of equity. And then the ending balance of capital flows down to the balance sheet. Okay? Make sure that these numbers equal. Make sure that you have them labeled. Okay? And then this one is dated correctly as well. It's not for the month ended, but as of August 31st, isn't it? Okay? So that is the answers to exercise 213, 214, and 215. Okay? Now, looks like some of you are still copying that, so go ahead and do that. Make sure when you do your financial statements on the test, and I think I mentioned this before, if it takes you 25, 30 minutes to do financial statements, you're not at the level of proficiency you need to be at. Some people do it first to get it out of the way, but it should take about 10, 11 minutes. But don't get obsessive with it. If it doesn't balance, move on. Like I said, I've had students who spent 35, 40 minutes because they couldn't get their balance sheet to balance. Don't do that. You have a lot of other tests here, okay? All right, I want to make sure I talk about one other thing real quick. We only have about two or 3 minutes. And that is the debt ratio. This is the ratio that is at the end of Chapter 2. I don't have any homework over it, but I do want you to be aware of it. The debt ratio is simply the amount of debt divided by the total assets for a company. So total liabilities divided by total assets. And this helps one monitor how a company is doing in regards to the liabilities that are on their books. Of course, a company has to pay debt, right? If you have a loan, you have to pay it back. Now, this is one of the most important ratios that when I go consult that I monitor for a company over time. Okay? If you see a company's debt ratio continually going up, that means they're taking on more and more debt, more and more liabilities. And just like in your own personal lives, if you keep on getting loans, if your credit card bills go up, if you buy cars on credit, all that sort of stuff, things get ugly quick, right? All one need to do is look around Johnson County, and there's a lot of people that took on way too much debt, correct? And their debt ratio over time was just going up and up and up. But you have to repay that debt sooner or later, don't you? So I hate to gloss over the debt ratio, but we didn't have a whole lot of time to go over it, but I at least want you to be aware of it. There might be like one multiple choice question over that on the test. All right? Okay. Any last questions? I'll tell you guys specifically some stuff after we stop rolling the cameras, but any general questions about the test?
When he wants to write the T accounts on the journals, he wants to date them.
You don't have to date the T accounts on the journal if I have you do that. Like I said, I guarantee you'll have to do journal entries, about 10 of them, and I guarantee you that you will have to do the 3 financial statements. And I've also told you some other things I promise will be on there. You're going to have to know what financial statements accounts go on. You're going to need to know the normal balances of accounts. I'm going to ask you a question that was much like the quiz that you had in class today. Okay? Make sense? All right.
Are you going to be picky about what calculators we use?
We will talk about that after the cameras stop rolling. Okay? All right. Any other?
Are you giving us paper, like lined paper, or are we just doing it
No,
on a
you're just
blank
gonna. You're not
space?
gonna have like a ledger. You're just gonna have a blank piece of paper.
Okay.
Okay. Other questions? Remember, I think a couple lectures ago I talked about the best ways to study for my test. That was in lecture 8. What was the number 1 way? Redo your homework. If you can't do the homework on a blank sheet of paper, you can't do the test. Okay? Folks at home, I have emailed you information. You should have it in your syllabus as far as when you need to take your test by. There's a 7-day window before that. You don't have to take it on that date. But remember, if you don't have it taken by that date, for every day that you're late, it's 15 extra points off your test. So don't put it off, okay? All right. Next time we see each other, we will start chapters 3 and 4, but mainly just 3 that day. Okay? All right. See you guys. Bye-bye.